man, so Bitcoin looks set to flip a key level thanks to the UK government. Yes, the UK government has just made a flip-flop, a complete U-turn. In this video, I'm going to explain how this country could be impacting what's going on with Bitcoin. Yes, plus we can look at the latest Fantom fund. Don't forget to smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. As always, check out the links in the description if you want to buy any of these cryptos moves, including some of these Bitcoin trades, which I'm going to show you. You can do so using Bybit or BitGet. Links in the description. Check those out. They are offering some amazing bonuses, and BitGet actually giving you free cash to just go and make your first trade, even if you don't deposit, even if you just sign up. So definitely take advantage of that. Bitcoin, really positive day today, up 1.6% so far. If you watched my video from yesterday, I said that we could be getting this relief rally, and that scenario would play out if we can work our way back up to the top of this wedge. Now remember, we can get rejected from this wedge. If I drop down to the hourly chart, I do want to show you what happened. We did get rejected by the yellow line, okay, at the backside of the triangle which we fell out from. Now, will the same happen again? That's what we want to look at. Will the same happen again there, but just above this yellow line? Or can we work our way up to the top here at 20,400? That would be a really nice phase one for this trade. But the trade is even bigger than that. The Bitcoin rally could be even bigger. And again, I'm going to come on to the catalyst of what could cause this. But what I want to share with you guys is this. We are forming a big W pattern, okay? You can see that we have come all the way down. We flushed down, we bounced back up, we've come down, we've gone back up. And now we could be working our way up to the 22,000 level mark. So we've got W patterns within W patterns, right? Because remember, on the bigger time frame, what is this? This is our big W patterns. Let me just leave that there for you guys. Let me zoom up to the weekly chart. Just remember the W, which I've just drawn there for you guys. Big W, which is playing out. So, okay, this is the bigger scenario. So there's a lot of potential for us to reverse from this situation. But what is causing it? Why are we having a green day today? Well, the main reason behind this is that the UK's new finance minister has scrapped the tax cut plans, which were initially set by the previous chancellor, who was fired last week. Okay, so this guy is a guy called Jeremy Hunt. Not that it matters to you, but he's come in and he's scrapped the tax plans. Now, what does this mean? The GBP, which got smashed when the previous chancellor announced his plans, is now recovering. We're up 1.46%. I'm showing you this here on the weekly. If I bring out the EMA ribbon, you can see we can start working our way back into the EMA ribbon on the GBP. You're probably asking, why do I care about the GBP? What has this got to do with Bitcoin? What are you talking about? If the GBP can recover, if it can build some strength, the dollar index is the relative strength of the dollar versus the yen, versus the euro, and versus the GBP. Those are the three biggest weighted currencies in the dollar index basket that it's compared to. So, strength in GBP, as you can see right now today, means that Dixie is down 0.67%. Okay, remember, Dixie cooling off is good for risk on stocks. The dollar index coming to the downside, it's inversely correlated to Bitcoin, which is why we're seeing Bitcoin up today, and we're seeing the dollar index have a bad day. We've got to caveat this. There's a lot to still caveat. One, it doesn't mean that the UK is through this mess. They're still in a bunch of issues. Liz Truss still is the leader. I mean, if she was to be toppled as the leader, that could be positive. The pound could rally then because there's not much confidence in here at the moment, and that could bring the dollar index down. But also from a technical perspective, the dollar index is still on a tear, okay? So whilst this is a good sign, and the reason it's a good sign is, remember I marked this high? We failed to go touch that high. This is good. We've managed to curl over a lot quicker. We curled over a 113.9 here on the dollar index. This is a good sign, and can we now go test this EMA ribbon? Can we put some pressure on the dollar index to see if it buckles and if we can lose our daily EMA ribbon? That's what we need to see here on the dollar index if we want some of our longer term price targets to play out on Bitcoin. Okay, so that's what we're looking out for. Just to remind you here on Bitcoin, this is what we're looking for here. So you've got a big W pattern, which is what we're interested here on the longer term, but there's loads of levels you have to fight for before we get the privilege to battle for that. And the first one is we're going to be coming up to this bottom of the wedge which we fell out from. Okay, so will we get rejected by this? Then we can work to the white line. The white line sits at around 20,400. Can we work our way above there? If we do, then we formed our mini W pattern. And again, you guys can trade that. Use the links in the description. Feel free to trade that. That's a W pattern which can work you up to that 20,000 level mark. So some really important levels here on the Bitcoin chart for us to work through. Now, another way to illustrate this to you guys, which is the big descending triangle we've been monitoring here on the daily chart. Now, look what you're getting. I spoke about this yesterday when I was sharing the patterns with you guys. We need to see a clean break with strong volume coming out of here. So I would not be FOMOing in on this trade just yet. Very, very very important. I personally will not be following another trade. I'm expecting a rejection from here. But if we do get a clean daily candle breaking through here, with strong volume, guys, don't forget the volume. This volume is pitiful here. We need good, strong volume and then a confirmation candle. This could be a really nice longer term trade, a swing trade, which we can keep open for a number of days, maybe even weeks. Can we get ourselves working back up to 22,400? And then the next pivot point up the top at 24,400 again, forming that W pattern, which I just shared with you on the other chart. This is a W pattern here within this triangle. Once you get to this neckline where my cursor is, it's a big W pattern. But we need to hold where we're at. I don't want you guys watching this video and getting excited on the longer term. On the longer term, even if the big W pattern played out, what are we doing? On the weekly here, we're running into our EMA ribbon. So all this would be, even if we got the break of this W pattern, let me just show you that one more time here, there, bounce back here, and then break, right? Even up towards 30,000 is still a relief rally as far as my definition is concerned. The bears are still in control and they can drive us back down after that. The momentum continues to be with them. So the trades I'm looking at, which are bullish, are on the shorter time frames. I don't want that to get mistaken in terms of the longer macroeconomy and where I think Bitcoin is right now. Now, let's also take a quick look here at Fantom. There's a whole bunch of drama. A lot of you guys wanted me to address this. I didn't want to really give this the time of day because these are the kind of FUD stories you get. Well, I wouldn't say FUD, but these are the kind of stories you get in a bear market. And this is the kind of thing. Now, that doesn't mean I want to dismiss it, but a guy called $24 over at Twitter, not that I want to give him a bunch of attention, listed a bunch of things which he was concerned about in Fantom. And it's actually an old story. He did this back in May 14. I'm pretty sure we covered it at the time, but he's gone ahead and added a few points he wanted to add around some concerns around Fantom. And if you go onto the website, you can have a read of it for your own purposes. He was worried about why Fantom sent 10 million to Harry. This is all old news. We've covered it all off. He then spoke about the address wallets and he spoke about a few other things in terms of the foundation and how they manage the way they do things, right? And he thinks they're just not very professional. So feel free to read that in your own time. You can find that on Twitter. But more importantly, Michael Kong did indeed respond as well. So you've got the response from the CEO of Fantom, Michael Kong, as well. So you can go through and read his rebuttal. But the reason I wanted to mention this today, because of the number of messages I've got about this on Discord and in the community. If this is the kind of news which worries you, if you wake up to a gentleman making a few concerns, which he's entitled to making those concerns, how he voiced them, I don't like how he voiced them, but he's entitled to having his own concerns. If that worries you about the side, about your position, you need to question two things. One is your level of conviction, and two is how married you are to your bag. And that's really, really important. I don't want you guys sitting there with huge amounts in a project which, one, you don't have conviction in, just hope, just pure hope. A friend told you, a YouTube video told you, somebody told you, and therefore you bought a whole bunch of Fantom and you have no other project, your life savings in Fantom. That should be a red flag for you that you have too much invested in a project you don't understand enough about. And that's really important. So I do want you to question that. And sometimes the tough love is the right love, guys. If that shook you, or these kind of things do shake you in the market, you need to question your conviction. I don't lose an iota of sleep around this kind of stuff for any of my projects in my portfolio. Now, that doesn't mean I'm oblivious to fundamental issues. And I know Fantom are far, far from perfect. I've raised those queries with Simone Pomposi in our long-form interview with the CMO of Fantom. I've also raised similar concerns with Michael Kong, the CEO of Fantom as well. No doubt, hopefully we can get him here for an update at some point on the various things going around as well. But these things are normal in terms of projects. This is a small market cap project. No doubt there's going to be things they aren't doing it as well as a project like Ethereum, which has been there, done now. A project like Polygon, which is far bigger. Cardano, which has a far bigger ecosystem around. That's why your portfolio should reflect that. And that is why I always skew towards the larger market cap projects. And where I have projects like Fantom or an Algorand or even an Avalon, I do so very sparingly, make sure it's a small part of my portfolio that I'm not going to lose sleep about. High risk, high reward. So again, if you're questioning yourself on these things, check your conviction. Now, looking at the Fantom charts while we're on the topic, let's take a look here at this key channel. We've been in here for quite a while, and you can see we're getting to the top of this channel. Now, we need to be careful. If Bitcoin gets rejected from that triangle, which I showed you, the top of that triangle, then expect Fantom to get rejected to the downside as well. If Bitcoin gets the breakout of that, you can also similarly trade Fantom out of this long-term wedge as well. And again, your pivot points, you always look to the left. You can look at your first price target there at around that, where we're sitting now is 21. You've got 22 up there, but then longer term, you want to be trading this up through the 24 level and then even potentially into this cluster around 27, 28. But again, these are going to lag Bitcoin. You're going to want to trade these altcoins based on what you think is going to happen with Bitcoin. And obviously, you're going to base your Bitcoin hunches on what you see happening in the wider markets. And speaking of the wider markets today, we do have some green in the market, which is what's helping, right? I explained to you what's happening with the GBP. That is creating downward pressure on the dollar index, and that is allowing US markets are powerfully opening up 3% here on the NASDAQ, almost 2.6% on the S&P, and the Dow Jones up 2% as well. So setting up for a really big green week. You've got some major institutions giving earnings this week, so please pay attention. We've already had a few important banks, including Bank of America, already show a huge beat. Now, that's not surprising for banking stocks because remember, interest rates are going up. They're going to make a lot more money there. So that's one thing for us to keep an eye on. We've got a lot of the major banks coming first, including Goldman Sachs tomorrow. You got BNY Mellon today before the open. You got First Bank after the close today. Lots of big names, including Tesla later on this week, Netflix, loads to look out for, which will be market moving. One thing to make sure we remember, and I wanted to share this with you, is I interestingly noticed that again this morning, it just flipped. This indicator just flipped, and now 1.7% of the market suddenly started pricing in again 100 basis point rate hike. So again, we're going to keep an eye on this because this could put some downward pressure on the markets. If the markets start to price in too much, this notion that Jerome Powell might do 100 basis points, if this gets to 10%, 15% or something more meaningful, that can start softening the markets back up again. So let's see how this rally goes. Good to see some greens in the market, and those are the trades I'm looking to play with the setups we've got. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you appreciate this type of content, smash up the likes and subscribe. Don't forget to go watch my Cadena video here, and I'll see you in the next one.